Did you ever outright ask her whether she did what she's accused of?
I did.
And what did she say to that?
She said she did. It was to keep her grandkids, but it wasn't supposed to go that far.
Judge, with that, let's take rest.
It's the Donna Adelson trial. Dan Markell, the father of Benjamin and Lincoln, was murdered 11 years ago. It's all led to this. Donna Adelson is charged with first-degree murder. If convicted, she faces life in prison without parole. We'll use our law enforcement experience to comment on the case as friends, family, and the people seek justice for Dan Markell. All that and what it means for your weekend on the Comm Center. Wake up, it's the Comm Center with Drew Breezy. It's a TV show on the internet about two best friends who are called by a small town sheriff to investigate when a sea shanty prevents certain types of pies from baking. I'm John. I'm an actual 911 dispatcher. I've been doing that job in this community for 10 years. I'm joined as always by my podcasting partner with Police Benefits. That's Andrew Baxter. That's a fake name. He's an authentic cop. He goes by Drew Breezy on the internet. Drew, in this case, we've seen almost as many criminals as detectives testifying. You know you're a scumbag when both the underworld and the police world want you to go to jail, go to prison. This was the last day for the state, and I have to ask you, do you think they made their case?
Oh my God, yeah, I think it was a slam dunk. Yeah, look, I think this is a bizarre case in the sense that, there were some really, white uniformed kind of white knights that have testified on behalf of the state. A lot of the people, though, that are making the case for the state are actually bad people.
We'll get into that, yeah.
So to include like previous defendants and unindicted co-conspirators, which, is always a fun topic with us. And then you got to wonder, John, that when, because the prosecution did rest, as you mentioned, you got to wonder that coming up next, starting Tuesday, I guess it is because Monday is the holiday, when the defense puts on their case, are they going to put people on the stand and vilify them?
I have no doubt that we're going to see, we saw some of this with the cross-examination of Special Agent Sanford. I actually downloaded a whole bunch of clips of this all day long of the defense attorney, the female one, attempting to basically impeach him, saying, you've made mistakes before, haven't you? And actually, there was one clip that I really just should have brought, but she says, so how many persons of interest did you have? And he goes, a lot. And he goes, well, when did the Adelsons become a real good person of interest for you? He's like, right away. Oh, so kind of too soon, right? And he goes, no, not too soon. It was actually around this time. Oh, so kind of like way after you, there's all these other people. So she was arguing with them that like there's like a perfect time to really zero in on when someone's a suspect. If it's too early, then you're not doing your due diligence. And if it's too late, it's because you're just trying to pin it on somebody. So we're going to be seeing lots more of that next week. And, same thing with other trials that we've covered earlier this year, that the idea is that you're going to be putting as much of that onto other people as possible. And I getting so sick of that lady's aw shucks style, I always make mistakes. I don't know how to pronounce things. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Darn it. She says that all the time. But you noticed something on Friday that I didn't notice. They swore in Donna, and this, you said it was because of her adaptive abrasiveness. What's going on with this?
Adaptive abrasiveness, I guess, is one way of putting it, but it's not exactly the definition that I was looking for.
Are you re-Googling it because you forgot what it was?
Nope, it's adaptive admission.
Oh, okay.
AA, that's easy for me to remember.
You will drunk you.
August 28th is my sobriety date, 8/28/08, so 17 years the other day. That's not a solicitation for applause or
money, though. Go ahead and drop a super chat if you're watching live.
Yeah. That's not, I'm not trying to elicit anything, but that's the truth. I mean, I hit 17 years of sobriety the other day. It's nothing to sneeze at, and nobody's sneezing. So leave your sneeze in the chats if you don't mind. Adaptive admission is very important in this case, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I've been watching this guy, Mentor Lawyer, Mentour, Mentor Lawyer. He runs a channel called Deep Dive True Crime, and why his coverage is unique is because he's a Tallahassee defense attorney, or I'm sorry, he's a Tallahassee civil attorney, but he knows all of these. He was a prosecutor apparently a long time ago, and apparently knows all of these, all of the players in this thing. He's very impressive, and it's like he's both feet in. He's like a good content creator. He's somebody to look up to. He's a good content creator, but he's also a very he wants to deliver the truth, just like we do. Like sometimes you have to say unpopular things to be able to deliver the truth, and the guy knows what he's talking about. And I enjoy watching his coverage. Now, like just I feel like I'm directing people away from our own channel.
Well, you're very true and very unpopular, so I think plenty of people are going to stay right here.
I am both. But he talked the other day about the importance of this adaptive admission that the state is laying out, and it's surgically done. Because I really didn't pick up on it. I didn't really understand it until I watched the secondary video. It was just released within the last day or so. And what adaptive admission is, I'll give you how about a Google definition? It's often featured in legal testimony. It's a statement made by someone else that a party to a case implicitly accepts as true. So what is essentially happening here, because I think this kind of railroaded their entire defense. The original defense for Charlie Adelson, a co-conspirator in this, was that he was being extorted by Katie McBanois and Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. And they were able, and Dan Roshbaum, his attorney, like in the last trial, in the trial with Charlie, the state was able to dismantle that pretty quickly because they're saying, look, are you kidding me? Like if they're extorting you, why are you sending back I love you messages and all this other stuff?
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Okay. So in an adaptive admission where she, being Donna prior to this trial, is saying, hey, look, the truth is out. They're finally telling the truth about my son on TV, on the trial there, right? So she's adapting this argument that he's being extorted, that they've already debunked. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so their trial strategy moved from, hey, we're not buying this, like they were extorted. We're not going to push that. The state is saying, whoa. There's an adaptive admission here. Her behavior is that she's already adapted that argument that she's kind of has to stick to. Now, look, I could be getting this completely wrong. I think I'm in the ballpark though. And I know why, based on his explanations, I followed what he was saying. I just might not be explaining it right. And you'll see, like, when you go back and watch testimony, even some of the stuff that we're about to show you, like we're going to show you a big thing at the end. But when you see the stuff that we're about to show you, you'll see that they are hammering home this extortion, extorted, extort. And you're probably wondering, like, we got it. He's already been convicted. Like, give it a rest, lady.
Wasn't Donna at one point Googling the difference between extortion and blackmail? Which
could have been.
Your Google searches always take you down, people.
But they served a search warrant on her home where they ended up pulling a planner. They ended up getting a couple of planners. I don't think people understood that, but they ended up getting a couple planners. Donna's a meticulous note taker, but also in her cell phone at the time of her arrest, they were able to pull some of her text messages, her WhatsApp stuff.
Apparently she's the one that took the picture of Dan's license plate, which I couldn't believe, because like to me, and I know that I think differently than other people, but morally that's the same as lining up the sights of the gun, because she's the one that basically taught the shooter how to identify Dan Markell, like how to make sure that you've got the right guy. Morally, it's the same to me.
It's written, and I'm going to ask you a format question of this show, John. I have a flow where I can show you through handwriting from her 2023 or 2024 planner that it's her handwriting. Then an informant gets up and testifies even further about a script that I'm sure that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
And then I can show you the kind of the smoking gun, no pun intended, that she had his tag written down in her 2014 planner. And that's the big deal in this whole thing. That's like they didn't see that in Charlie Adelson's trial.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once the defense saw that, they're like, okay, how do we explain this? Now, there might be 100 ways to explain.
Maybe she wrote it down because it's just her favorite license plate.
Right. Yeah, right. If it was a vanity plate that said Nana or something,
Maybe. I don't know.
But it was very random, very random characters. It was pretty, and it said next to the description of the car, not to spoil what we're about to show you, but so what do you think, John? Should we get into what I have? Do you want to talk about the informants first?
Let's do yours because it kind of sets it up, because the judge knows what's happening. Of course, they've had lots of pre-trial stuff. The judge knows the strategy of both sides. The judge is actually probably the smartest person in the room by far, and he can sense what's happening. He knows that basically the Donna Adelson defense is consenting to walking into a huge trap, possibly because Donna is assisting in her own defense. And so the judge makes sure, just so that this is not grounds for a reversal on appeal later, that Donna is fully aware of what's happening, even though it is not a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and play your video.
Before we go into the break, there is one record matter that I need to address with both the defendant and the attorneys. Ms. Adelson, if you please can rise so I can swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? You can lower your hand. Ms. Adelson, concerning the listed state witnesses for this afternoon, Patricia Bird and Dina Bernhardt, you have discussed with your counsel the cross-examination strategy for these two witnesses.
Yes.
I need you to speak up so you can be clearly heard.
Yes.
You also understand how the cross-examination strategy will fit into your theory of defense.
I couldn't hear. Will offense.
You understand how this cross-examination strategy will fit into your theory of defense for the case.
This is her moment to play this. Like, this would be the perfect moment, John. Like, what's he saying about offense? This would be the perfect time to.
This is what you realize it's all going down the toilet. So you just go full Joe Biden. You act like you have no idea what the hell is going on, right?
Right.
You just all of a sudden he's just like, we're gonna take a 5-minute break for a competency hearing, and then you just try to get completely out of here.
Right. This is Homer backing into the bushes.
Yes.
And you have consented to this particular strategy.
Yes.
And Mr. Zellman, the matter that we discussed previously at sidebar, as to the strategy, there are no other issues that the defense needs to bring to the court's attention.
Okay, so John, this is the importance of that, because I definitely did not pick up on that when it was happening. I was like, oh man, why is he swearing her in, and why is he? Okay, so apparently when you're about to consent to your defense team who is going to cross-examine, like they've already talked about this at sidebar, the defense team, the prosecution, and the judge. And the defense team is saying, hey, you bring these informants in here, and you'll see when, John goes over the informants in a minute. They were not happy about those informants being in there. The jailhouse informants. They do not find them credible and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is when they cross-examine them, they are going to ask them questions that, if the informants answer them, may incriminate Donna. So the judge, being that the good judge that he is, that's trying to avoid all appeals and everything else, just says, look, raise your right hand. I want, I'm sure that's procedure. Like it's done that way in every trial, but he's just saying, look, are you aware of the defense strategy? Okay. And you've talked that over with the account. So now it's all on the record. She's sworn and she has given a verbal, you can sit in the exit row and lift the door. So here's where it all comes into play. We'll get, I'm going somewhere with this, John.
Get it.
You can see, I do believe that's George's fingernail. I'm not going to comment on the fingernails. I'm going to try hard not to comment on the fingernails. I'm going to try really.
Come on, get on with it.
2014, she's pointing at.
Right.
Okay. That's telling you that they recovered the 2014 planner. This is the 2014 planner. This is between July and August. Okay. So far, so good. I can't find the play button, but all right, here we go. All right. So next we'll see. It'll take a second to flip on you. Look at all this stuff that she has. This kind of shows a couple things. The reason I included this is because it's look at the kind of stuff that she. This is not, so we're not confused. This is not.
She keeps track of everything. She seems like the kind of person where if she does something that's not on her list, she'll write it down and then cross it off.
Right. And she's probably doing this to avoid putting it on Google Calendar because the feds can get that. But this right here is her 2023 calendar. This is not her 2014 calendar, but it just goes to the amount of writing she does. Like she keeps track of everything. Now, you'll see things on here like phone service, Vietnam. If you look down by that 8 there, disability - cancel, phone service - Vietnam. I think it says like MC, out of country, Xfinity, phone plan. So they're obviously making plans to be.
She's got better plans for getting out of America than the United States did for getting out of Iraq in 2003.
Yeah. There's even that's not what I thought it was. I thought it was a Netflix thing. But at any rate, they talk about Lincoln's basketball game. They talk about all these other things.
They mentioned his bar mitzvah and how she had plans to be gone for that and not return, even though that was going to be in January.
Yeah, exactly. So this also, the secondary reason for showing you this is her handwriting, because her handwriting is very important. If they're going to stipulate that this is her planner, and then they're saying that this is her handwriting. Okay. So far, so good. So we play a little bit more, and then we get to what's next here. Child support through November of 2025. So if they were going to make it back, they wouldn't have to worry about prepaying the child support. This is the child support for Charlie's son. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
I don't think it matters, but they've got that all prepaid up through November of this year.
Right. And take a look at what's under Friday, November 17th. Ask Dan about lawsuits, basically, is what she's saying. Hearsay and conjective, the malicious ruin of the dental practice, egregious damage to the reputation of 2 dentists.
The day before, she should have said, ask Dan about what could be discoverable at a trial, like my documents. That would have been smart. God damn it, Dan. You should have warned her not to write shit down. It can all come in at trial. Dan's not a very good attorney.
So this is beyond grasping at straws. This right here is the ball. Like, to me, the balls. The balls. You're going to sue people for what you're calling libel and slander, for besmirching the good name of these and reputation of these 2 dentists.
Yeah, but it's really about a good defense is a strong offense. She wants to go out there and at least publicly, or in a court of public opinion, or in some sort of actual court, she wants to go on the offensive. And that's very much her style. It was that way with Dan as well. At one point, she sends an email to Wendy, he hasn't beaten us yet. He doesn't know what he's getting with the Adelson family. And I'm sure with all of this going on, she feels the same way. And earlier this week, we covered this in an episode, but when she's on the tape talking to the UC about how she had nothing to do with it, she's kind of nodding her head. Donna likes to fight. She's competitive. She's aggressive. And I think that's why she wanted to get into court and why she wanted to start the charges going back the other way. People are saying things about her, and she wants to say things about other people. Go ahead.
Remind me at the end, John, to call back to Wendy's interview, because there is something that occurred in there, a little test that she failed, obviously. Okay, so there's all of this in there. Saturday, November 18th, it says, tell Wendy, do October expenses for 3 properties, enter it into the computer. Okay, so this is where she's at. This is her meticulousness. This is her handwriting. Now, we get to Dina Bernhardt, who is allegedly the jail daughter of Donna Adelson. She apparently has called herself the jail daughter or Donna used to call her jail daughter, which, to me brought a couple of things to mind. First of all, how does that make her real daughter feel? How does it make her real son feel? Because she actually has a jail son, and then she has a doctor's son.
Yeah, this has to be really offensive to her jail son, who's actually a jail son.
So that right there is Charlie's jail sister, if you in the big scheme of things, and it would be Wendy's jail half sister, and it would be Robert's jail half sister as well. So Dina is she turned out to be an informant, and here's my prediction on all of this. She sat at a table, they came up with a script, and it was supposed to be everything that Dina Bernhardt was supposed to memorize. We're
Right.
in a minute about with your stuff about that they knew Katie McBanwell and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And of course she's in, of course she's done some bad things. She has like 20 some odd felony convictions. She's not a good person, but to be a jail daughter, you got to be in jail. And to be in jail, you got to be accused of doing something. Now, in Donna's case, it's killing her son-in-law. In Drina's case, it's like some drug situations. She said in her testimony that originally her intentions were to get a lighter sentence, which is an honest answer, obviously. It'd be a little bit easier on her, plus get some rehab, meaning she wants some help. And then she kind of said, but now this is all about justice for Dan Markell and his family. So whether you believe her or not is your business. I can tell you with experience, I've dealt with people who were jailhouse informants that had nothing but altruistic intentions, and in fact helped us with some very major cases, one, and two, completely testified knowing that the minute they walk back into their pod that they are going to be looked at. I'm sure that you have similar experiences, John.
Yeah, we used to have lots of snitches. I remember there was this one guy who had boiling water poured all over his face. He probably snitched on a lot of people.
Yeah, apparently.
That's a true story, by the way.
Snitches get stitches is the old terminology, but what's the boiling, like at what level?
That guy, I could name his name right now, but I would get into huge trouble. But he snitched on everyone all the time for little things. And he wasn't even clever about it. This guy was not smart. Someone would get in trouble with a CO, and then everyone would lock up for the night, and then he would literally walk out and stand where everyone could see him, and he would literally point at the guy. That's why you get boiling water poured all over you. But keep going. I want to get to the snitch testimony.
Okay, yeah, we'll keep going. I'm just going to give you my little crystal ball theories and crystal ball thoughts. I think that the defense is going to try their damnedest to discredit these two informants in their, when they lay out their defense.
They have to.
They have no choice. And I think the way that they're going to do that is by undermining law enforcement officers who were controlling Dina Bernhardt.
You're going to try to make it seem like they were agents of the state, and
yeah, because there's specific case law that says that. And
yeah.
Like this used to come up in my interviews and interrogations course. I was required to teach it, that there was a guy in a drug case. He was out on bond, and his co-defendant, they sent in to have a conversation, a recorded conversation with him. The problem is his Sixth Amendment had already kicked in. He was out on bond, so he was represented. You can't, as an agent of law enforcement, start asking this guy questions without the permission or the presence of his attorney, without him knowing. It's just basically
you can't use the inmates as a loophole for that. If you're going to question someone in custody, they've got to know their rights and they have the right to remain silent. Well, they're not going to talk to a cop. Well, you send in, if you make an inmate an agent to go in there and ask your questions for you, that's like finding a loophole in the Constitution, and it's not allowed.
The only way you could do it is and this is how we handled it.
Is if the snitches tell them, hey, you have the right to remain silent, and anything you say it will be used against you in a court of law.
I'm working
the snitches have to Mirandize them, right?
Yeah, if I'm working for law enforcement. Technically, I told them. No, the only ways to get around this would be the first way being a law enforcement officer in the jail, like being
undercover. You mean?
Yeah, you could be an undercover inmate. I mean, but you're still pushing the bounds because they're still represented. Okay. The other way to do this is, and this is what we did in the murder case that, we had an informant. He helped us in this other major jail escape case. He ended up helping us in this murder case. He was a spot on, good dude, good kid. He just fell into the drugs. You tell him very specifically, your role is to be a microphone, basically. Just be a set of speakers. Okay, you don't want to transmit, you want to receive. You get me? And sure enough, the first thing this kid says, he's in the cell with the people that our homicide people thought murdered somebody. And the guy just starts giving him this story, spilling the story about this beautiful blue jay, and he had it in his hands and he crushed the blue jay, and he can't believe that he had this thing of beauty in his hands and he took the blue jay's life, and had this whole metaphorical confession to a murder, basically. And our informant is like, that blue jay deserves a proper burial. Okay, so like there's a whole thing in law enforcement about proper burial because there's a Supreme Court case about the proper burial speech. That's a whole different show we'll do at a different time. But we had to overcome that. Like, we never told this informant to talk about a proper burial. In fact, we told him, shut the F up, just let him talk. And he did. The guy talked, and a lot of the conversation was admissible. I think what they're going to go for next week, John, is that she was acting as an agent of the state. Therefore, this is all fruit from a poisonous tree, maybe. Like, yeah,
but really arguing that she was an agent and that this is fruit of the poisonous tree. So just to clarify, that was probably a pretrial motion, motion for suppression. The judge ruled that it's fine. So now they're just going to try to convince the jury that this is out of pocket. But what does the jury care? I mean, do you really think that everyone in the jury is going to be like, you're right, Donna's rights were violated? They're going to look at this testimony and say, like, Donna friggin' killed Dan Markell. They're not legal scholars. Right. They're just going to follow the narrative. It was the judge's job to decide whether or not this was legally okay, whether or not this was in bounds for a trial. And it's clearly in bounds.
It's clearly in bounds. So we're good to go here. That's Dina. She came across as honest on the stand, but you really got to take every informant. Look, informant information is only as good as your verification efforts as a law enforcement officer. I'll tell you that all day long. An informant could tell you anything because a lot of times they're trying to get rid of their competition. So what you don't know is, okay, trust but verify. You can go behind their back. You have to go behind their back and verify it. If I ever wrote a search warrant based on informant information, I would say the informant said this, but here's my effort to verify or corroborate what they said. So it's just like the other day when Jeff Lacasse testified, like, yeah, she told me, hey, can I tell you something in confidence? My brother looked into hiring a hitman. They can only take that for what it's worth. There's no way to corroborate that. The only way to corroborate that is with other like text messages or whatever. Otherwise, it's just his testimony. It's he said, she said. So it may not be as strong as everybody thinks. I want you to look, though, at your screen here. Everyone knew her. She's been on the news. I've seen and heard about this on some TV show.
This was kind of her Sarah Boone moment where she just sort of assumes, oh, everyone's heard of me, which I thought was funny because on the stand, and we'll get to this, but she's like, no, I've never heard of her.
John, you know what we're going to do? You know what we need to do is we need to compare Sarah Boone's handwriting to her handwriting.
Just to see if they're both insane and the handwriting proves it?
I think.
I do.
And what did you
So this is how we get around this. We enter this FDLE handwriting expert.
do with that exhibit?
This particular exhibit, I inventoried to describe the contents of it.
So in case you ever wondered how experts determine if handwriting is authentic, enter her. This is, she's, well, here, let her explain.
I then digitally scanned it and then used it as the purported known writing of Donna Adelson in my handwriting comparison.
And Stacy's at 50.
And do you select certain characters or words for comparison? How do you start?
I look and examine every handwriting characteristic that is available for me to examine. I notate as I examine the question and known materials. So whenever I find a particular characteristic, I may note where that particular characteristic was found within the known writing. However, I compare all of the question individual characteristics within the handwriting to the known characteristics within the known.
So you're not just picking out like, oh, she makes her S's this way. You're looking at every single character.
Every single handwritten character, yes. Yes, the next slide has some arrows and other markings, which...
All right, that's what I want to show you. This is Kate Butler. She's a senior crime laboratory analyst. She's got 16 years of experience. And if you thought for 1 second that it was just like a cursory look, like when we involve a handwriting expert in any case, it's going to be somebody to her level. And they go through schooling after, they go through statement analysis. So not only are they
She's testified at 25 trials, so she knows her stuff. And every time that happens, it's not that you just happen to be asked to do it. A judge certifies that she's credible and good to go for 25 trials.
Right. Well, both the defense and the prosecution have a crack at her in the Daubert hearing, where they determine whether she's an expert or not. Okay, right. So he's obviously an expert in this, but look how deep it goes. Like it's not just the S's or the T's or the
are pointing out some of the individual characteristics that I found in my examination and showing how they are similar between the question writings and the known writings. Oh, I apparently clicked it.
I clicked it.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Would you like me to describe each of the characteristics?
Yeah, thank you.
So beginning with the first word in the uppercase W of the word Y, we see the overall structure of the uppercase W has a very small tick at the bottom near the baseline where it appears that there's a little bit of an upstroke and then a very small tick and then a downstroke. That kind of makes the bottom of the W. And that particular shape of it being sort of flat on one side but pointed or angled on the other side of the W, on the side that's next to the H, the right side of the W has a bit of a curve.
Okay, so that was like 1/1000th of her testimony. To me, it was very, look, it was meticulous, and her level of knowledge is impressive. The thing with this is, and she would probably tell you, it's like trying to break down the chemical composition of cocaine on the stand. Like, you're a chemist, and it's probably exciting when you're trying to, and analyze this stuff. But if you have to explain it to a jury, it's like intense. It's like really long and whatnot. So the meticulous nature of this whole thing is going to be able to show not just the handwriting in comparison, it shows like what kind of person they are and all this other stuff. End of story.
What their birth order is. We got it.
Here we go. 2014. I don't even know what I'm pointing at. I'm pointing at a camera. 2014 planner. Look at that. Apostrophe 07 Odyssey, which is the van that Wendy drove.
Wendy was driving when she was at the barricade.
And if you look, there's no tag. There's no Florida State tag attached to that.
Yeah, don't kill Wendy is what that says.
Just underneath though, 08 Accord with the tag S84YBM, which was Dan Markel's tag. So she had Dan Markel's tag. Now, this is circumstantial, and the state will tell you it's circumstantial, but it's in her 2014 planner right before he died, one. And two, this goes to the bigger picture of like, when it's another brick in the wall here. Like, okay, take that brick out. You got a whole other structure behind you. All right. So that's kind of where we're at, John. That's that's the handwriting analysis. That's the significance of that. So the rest is, the world is your oyster, my friend.
You ready for me to play my video? Is that what you're saying?
Take over.
All right. So the reason why that's important, first of all, if I didn't introduce Drew properly, this is Drew Parisi. He was a detective and a patrolman and a lieutenant and a sergeant and a corporal. And he got promoted a bunch of times and demoted one time. And he's apparently like 17 years sober. But he was a cop for a really long time. And he retired because he wanted to, which is an important distinction. But the reason why we talked about all this expert testimony and the reason why we just talked about all the dry as toast handwriting analysis stuff is because without the handwriting analysis, without being able to verify with physical evidence and other expertise, we cannot verify that what we're about to hear from these snitches is true. So we're going to hear from some of the snitches. We're going to play their testimony on the stand.
Bernhardt, are you currently incarcerated in the Leon County Jail?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And are you in currently on 2 different felony cases?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that a second-degree felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then also a third-degree felony is also pending, punishable by up to an additional 5 years. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
right? Okay.
So it's important we cover that because we need to know that this is a woman with something to gain. On cross-examination, of course, the defense attorneys hammered her on what her expectations were. And even though she hasn't been promised anything, on redirect, the prosecution had to say like, hey, like, I'm not the one who's prosecuting you. It's a separate prosecutor. And no deal's been made. No promises been made. But Drew, I guess I have to put forward out there just so that we're being fair. Like if you're someone who's already in jail, you've been in there for a long time and you're looking forward to 10, 15, 20 years behind bars for new federal beefs, you're looking to play as nice as possible, right? And sometimes, a formal promise doesn't have to be in place. And of course, why would you want to make a formal process? Because that's something that's discoverable in this trial. But isn't it kind of just maybe an understanding that we're going to grease the skids for you to get out of jail earlier if you play for our team?
It is. Georgia Kappelman kind of clears that up right at the end of the testimony, though. Actually, it's in redirect.
Redirect. Yes. Let's keep.
Like, look, yeah, you're probably going to get a lighter, or you may end up getting a lighter sentence, but it's got nothing to do with me or this. She didn't say it has nothing to do with this case. She's like, it's not at my discretion, right? It's basically up to the judge because she's on a VOP, a violation of probation.
Right.
So,
but I want the audience to understand that, like, it's very much the case that although there's no promise in place, I think there's almost a tacit understanding that if you cooperate, with the authorities, that good things are going to happen to you. And I think it's important that we never lose sight of who this person is so that we can accurately judge their credibility. I'm going to keep going on.
So, John, it's because we live in this world where the first thing off of people's mouths or the first thing that rolls off the tongue is snitches get stitches. There's an anti-informant culture in certain areas of town, we'll call it. There are certain cultures that just do not tell on one another. Like, so that,
gang culture.
Yes, gang culture being one. And it makes it nearly impossible to get justice for Dan Markel if you don't have somebody. Look, the dirty people hang with the dirty people, and she's dirty, and she's sitting there right across from Donna Adelson playing Chinese checkers or whatever, and they've got nothing else to do but to talk about each other's cases.
I want to ask if you've been promised anything by myself or any member of my team in exchange for your testimony here today.
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything?
No.
Okay. Is this your first stint in the Leon County Jail?
No, it's not.
Have you been in and out of jail quite a few times?
I have.
Okay. Do you have 27 prior convictions involving either felonies or crimes of dishonesty?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot.
Were you recently incarcerated in the Leon County Jail with Donna Adelson?
Yes, I was.
And did you become friendly with her during the time that y'all were both in the jail together?
Yes.
All right. Can you describe your friendship with Mrs. Adelson?
Yes. Initially, it was very nice. She actually called me her jail daughter, and she and I got close, and How much more detail do you want?
And did she have a nickname for you besides her jail daughter?
Yes, Sunshine.
Did she ever talk to you about her grandchildren?
Yes, she did.
And did she tell you anything about the type of relationship that she had specifically with the children of the deceased in this case?
Yes, she said she was very close with them, and every now and then she would call them her children.
So I want to call attention to this. This is something that you can miss very easily because there's so much to pay attention to. But Donna Adelson said that sometimes she even referred to or thought of Benjamin and Lincoln as her children.
Right.
This is not a sweet thing to say. This is a cringy thing to say because these children are not her children.
No.
They're Dan Markel's children. And it completely reframes the whole story of she's trying to do things for Wendy. She's trying to save Wendy from an abusive ex-husband. It changes it over to more like a narrative. She's trying to steal kids from Dan Markel. That's literally how I took that moment when she's like, she thought of them as being more her kids. I found it absolutely disgusting. Go ahead.
I did the exact same thing. I thought the exact same thing. We think a lot alike on a lot of things. And it was more of the, like, people will catch themselves all the time probably saying that, like, well, not my kids, my daughter's kids, you know what I mean? But they are so entrenched. And I believe that Wendy is in on this too, meaning they really have put him out of their minds. Like, he does not exist.
Well, they erased his name and they didn't attend his funeral in Toronto, which I thought was also really a trashy thing to do. Just make no mistake, no matter how perfect their teeth and how much money they have, these are trashy people.
Yeah, well, we know they have a passport, so.
And they look down at people like Luis Rivera and Katie McBonwood, but they're trashier than they are.
Yes. And so are the cops, because nobody is as smart as freaking Charlie Adelson.
Yeah, he thinks he's smarter.
As Donna, like the big celebration they had when, oh, thank God, it's just the cops. You know, we could beat them.
Yeah,
like,
we're smarter than the cops. The Latin Kings would obviously cut out our tongues, but it's just the police. I'll keep going.
I want to ask you about whether Mrs. Adelson, during the time that y'all were friendly, ever discussed her case with you.
Yes.
At some point, did you end up reaching out to law enforcement to report some of the things that she had been saying to you about her case?
Yes, I did.
And why did you do that?
Well, initially I did it for selfish reasons, but more that I spent time with Dawn, I realized that it was morally correct and I wanted to get justice for the Markel family.
This kind of touches me, to be honest, but I'm also looking at it in the broader circumstances. Like I said at the top of the show, you really are a piece of shit when the entire underworld wants you to go away for what you did, which is what we're seeing here today. Of course, the cops want her to go away. And, you know, the coverage has been pretty one-sided. Not a lot of people are taking Donna Adelson's side on this. But the other part that's kind of funny is that when she was approached by Donna Adelson and asked to participate in the scheme to contrive this testimony on her behalf about everything we're about to see, you know, this lady here, Dina, also realizes that she could play Donna Adelson like a cheap fiddle for commissary and string her along until she can't be a part of the game anymore, which just goes to show you that for someone who's had, you know, 26 felonies and crimes of dishonesty, this is not a dumb person we're talking to right now.
Right.
It'll keep playing here.
Okay, so you felt it was the right thing to do, but you were also hoping to get something out of it.
Yes.
And what kind of thing were you hoping to get out of it?
Just help, lighter sentence, maybe rehab.
Okay, and are you still hoping that might be the outcome for you?
Maybe, but right now I'm more interested in justice for the Markel family.
Did she ever mention?
I'll tell you, that informant that I had, that helped in the jail escape case, that helped in the homicide case that we were working. He was in jail, but his big thing that he wanted was he didn't want a lighter sentence. He's willing to like serve whatever. He's probably going to get time served anyway. It was quite the opposite. He was like, no, I want to stay in. I want a rehab in here. I don't want to go back out there just yet. I want to be able to get in here and like it says a lot to the greater problem. Like if she's committing crimes because of drugs, like everybody thinks, oh, you can don't make excuses for you can control that. I started this thing by telling you I'm 17 years sober. I know the grips of an addiction, right? And you don't fear anything when you're addicted. And as a matter of fact, you're probably the most you're at the most manipulative. Like some of the most manipulative people on the planet are addicts because they can't stand going.
They'll do anything for their next fix. Everything and every person is a pathway to that. And I'll tell you that the interesting thing, just from my experience working as a correctional officer for 6.5 years at the state penitentiary, not all inmates are created equal. And some inmates really don't like the fact that they have to live with other inmates. You'll get someone who's in there for multiple DUIs. They have a drinking problem like Drew once used to have, or a drug problem like Dina had, or maybe they just embezzled a large amount of money from their firm. Well, they're in there with people who have much more sordid paths, who maybe took a plea to a lesser offense and all of a sudden they're in there for other things. And they come across information about what's going on. And I have had people approach me and want to talk to me about things that are going on with the other inmates, because even though they're not perfect people, as none of us are, they don't approve of what these other people are doing. There's a line to be crossed. And believe it or not, there's plenty of inmates who still think that murder is not okay.
Right. And just
Go ahead,
John, she's got a degree of humility, at least. Like a lot of, I'm not judging any of the testimony, but like there's a little air of humility.
Well, I think she has to have all that humility. She goes on and says, she says at one point, she's about to say, I'm a recovering drug addict. I've been in and out. I've been incarcerated a lot. I have these problems. And one thing I'll compare her to Wendy. I want you to just, especially in the first few moments, which we're kind of past now, but I want you to just listen to the back and forth. Dugan asks her a question and she just says yes. She's just back and forth, yes, no. She's actually answering yes, no, sometimes before the sentences are even completed, which is driving the court reporter nuts, I'm sure. But it just shows you how eager she is to be cooperative and how the story that she's telling is the truth. She doesn't have to make sure that it fits in with what she just said.
You a state witness by the name of Catherine Magbanoa.
Yes.
And was Ms. Magbanoa somebody that was known to you?
Yes, I knew Miss Magbanoa from being locked up with her years before.
And at some point, did the defendant try to recruit you to become a witness for her in this case?
Yes.
How did she first approach you about that?
She asked me if I would be willing to do it, and I said yes.
And what is it that she wanted you to testify about?
She wanted me to testify about Miss Magbanoa.
And so she had some things she wanted you to say about Kay.
Correct.
At some point, did she prepare a script for you of exactly what she wanted you to testify to?
She did.
Is this the script that was prepared for you by Ms. Adelson?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Who's no?
By the way, I'm sorry, this is mean, but she has a journal called You're Going Places, in a place where she's literally not allowed to leave.
What book is this?
That's mine.
Okay. And whose handwriting is this on this first page?
That's Donna's, Miss Adelson.
Okay, so she wrote this in your notebook?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it you were supposed to do with this information?
I was supposed to study it and answer it correctly on the stand for her.
So this is what she wanted you to say in court?
Yes, ma'am.
So for example, how did you know Donna Adelson? You were supposed to say everyone knew her. She's been on the news. I've seen and heard about this on TV shows and read it in the newspaper over the years.
Correct.
Do you read the newspaper?
No.
Okay. Did you know much about her or her case prior to coming in contact with her in the Leon County Jail?
No, ma'am.
Did you provide this item to my office?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it copied and returned to you?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with it once you returned with the original to the Leon County Jail?
Return it to her.
It says that you approached Mrs. Adelson and told her you had information about Kay that you wanted to give her. Is that true?
No.
This says that Kay told you that she told Charlie on the night of the murder that some friends of hers went to Tallahassee and killed him. Did Kay ever tell you that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. She asked him to give her the 1/3 of $1 million that he was going to pay his sister so that she could relocate with her children to Miami. Did Kay ever say any of that to you?
No, ma'am. She
Convinced him that the murderers think a woman is paying for this. They don't know Charlie. She told him she wouldn't tell her friends who he is. She can keep him safe. So she was, according to this story, extorting money out of Charlie, but he didn't know it. He thought she was his friend, but really she was his enemy. Is that the deal?
Yes, I suppose that's what it's supposed to be.
All right, and did Catherine McBanoa, ever say any of that to you?
No.
Are you familiar at all with Charlie Adelson's trial or his trial testimony?
No,
She laughed about how easy it was to extort, and extort is underlined. Did you underline that, or did Mrs. Adelson underline that?
I didn't underline it.
Okay. How easy it was to extort him for the money. He wouldn't have to take her out to a fancy dinner. She could buy plenty of fancy dinners with the $1/3 of $1 million. She said she fooled her baby daddy and she fooled Charlie. Sigfredo would do anything for her, and he did. Did Kay say any of this to
No.
you? Charlie was scared and easy to extort. What a stupid fool. He believed her that she was keeping him safe from the killers. Ha ha, what a joke. Is that the type of language that Catherine McBanoa would use?
I'm sorry, I've only heard Catherine McBanoa testify on clips on this show. But I know she would not say, ha ha, that stupid fool. She does not talk like, what's the guy's name on the Smurfs? Gargamesh or whatever. He doesn't talk. She doesn't talk like a cartoon supervillain.
LOL. What a jive turkey.
I've heard her say like they're pulling your bones and things like that. Like, but it just goes to show you like, ha ha, boomer, your slang's not selling anyone here on the jury.
She did say,
No.
Do you know her well enough to tell this jury that she
we'll buy you a new Davenport for your parlor.
wouldn't say something like, what a stupid fool, ha ha, what a joke?
Yeah, she wouldn't talk like that.
But that's what Mrs. Adelson wanted you to come in and tell this jury.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she give you anything or promise you anything in exchange for reciting this script?
While I was in jail, I received packages and phone calls, and I was promised things as well. Packages are in jail just like a bunch of basically gas station food, but it's exciting when you're in jail. The phone calls are very expensive from jail, so she would let me use her phone to call my mother and other people.
Okay, and you said she promised you other things in the future. What other types of things?
$10,000, a grand piano.
It's 9:00 on a Saturday.
None of that came to fruition.
No.
Okay. And what about pills? Did she mention anything to you about pills?
This is the really demonic part. You're talking to someone who's a drug addict you can see that she has destroyed her life because she struggles with this. She has a problem with this. And Donna just says like, hey, you want to get your fix? I'll make it happen. Just goes to show you how Donna does not really think of this person as her jail daughter. But on the other hand, she doesn't really care about anyone but herself. So
Yes, that
I do want to point out, though, that even her jail daughter is testifying against her. She can't have an offspring, whether jail or natural, that will not testify against her.
if I needed pills, that I could call a doctor named, I think, Obed.
are you going to look into that, Drew, as a cop? Like, once you've been told that Obed's the doctor that writes scripts for people?
That was his roommate. I think he testified in the other trial, if I'm not mistaken. That was his roommate. He's an actual doctor.
Okay, but does he give out scripts to people that shouldn't have it, like in exchange for jail favors?
Well, who can say that she's not supposed to have it? But the thing is, because a doctor can't, a doctor in the prescription drug monitoring program would probably raise a few red flags if they wrote scripts for people that they know. So just having that one layer, but every doctor knows a doctor. I mean, that's the way it goes. But just think of the broader picture also. Donna is like, she doesn't know she's being played, but she's trying to play on this woman's addiction. And she's like, oh, I can get you pills. Is that all you want?
You just made me think of something. I have a doctor that I see and I go to annually.
Yeah.
I want to go to his doctor.
I am.
Do they keep the doctor's secret? Anyway.
I think that's his name.
Okay.
Yes.
And that person would write you some prescriptions?
Yes, ma'am.
And why?
Yeah, I forgot that. Obed was the boss. Katie McBanoa worked at Obed's front desk, but he was a roommate of Dan. I'm sorry. He was a roommate of Charlie Adelson.
Would you be in need of prescription medication?
I'm a recovering drug addict.
Okay.
Humility.
And how were you going to get these other items, like the $10,000?
The money would be through something called Zelle.
It's also funny that she doesn't know what Zelle is.
Okay. And who was going to send the money through Zelle?
She knows what a cell is. She does come across very, I would say she's on a scale of relatable to the jury. She's probably like a 7 or an 8.
Everybody has a family member that's like this, though. Like, as much as the defense will try to paint her as a scumbag felon jailbird, we all have people in our lives that struggle with this. Like, this is 2025. Like, we went through an opioid epidemic. We know people who've been through this. We know people who have struggled. Yes, they tend to have honesty problems. Yes, it tends to destroy all their relationships and all their lives. But just because a person has a dishonest past and has been convicted of these things, it doesn't mean that they're dishonest all the time. And that's what you really have to get through to the jury, is that this person is telling the truth. Of course, this is all prefaced by the fact that this woman brought forward physical testimony or physical evidence in the form of handwritten journals from Donna saying, this is the plan, this is what you're going to testify to. And we've proven that it's Donna's handwriting. So this is how we can verify her entire story.
Harvey.
That's her husband, Harvey Adelson?
Yes.
And how are you supposed to contact Harvey Adelson?
Through a phone app called Signal.
Okay. Had you ever heard of the phone app Signal before?
No, ma'am.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
For that felony case, if you were convicted as charged, that you could receive up to 15 years in prison for that felony?
So this is the other woman that that testified actually before that. She testified that she lived in the pod with Donna, that they would talk all the time. I'm about to let it play out, but one of the persons in our chat, I think it was Julia, said that she believed Dina, the person you just saw, but she didn't believe this person. She didn't believe that Donna would confide in her. And that rings true to me, and I'm going to tell you why. Donna made some statements in one of her emails to Wendy about, at some stage of the various legal processes with her, with Charlie or something, but about a judge or something who happened to be an African-American person. I don't think that Donna has a very kind and accepting heart. I mean, we know that she looks down on people just for being from Tallahassee, let alone other things about them. I don't know if jail kind of changes your mind, like when you don't have a choice, you just really forced to get to know people and you can't just judge them afar. You can't just look down your nose at them as they clean your table after you're done eating at a restaurant in Miami. But I'm not so sure that she would have necessarily confided with her unless this is her jail Aunt Jemima. I don't know.
Yes.
Have you received any offer or promises in exchange for your testimony in this case?
No.
How often would you talk to her?
Every day, all day.
Did you ever outright ask her whether she did what she's...
I don't know, John. I think she's a manipulator. I think Donna's a manipulator. I think she befriended her for the protection angle, for the protection aspect. Like, and like,
she assumed that this woman is in a gang naturally, and so she's like, she has to recruit her for protection.
But it's just as we've said, and as you know from experience, from your time as a prison guard, not guard, I'm sorry to use that term.
That's okay, pig.
They have nothing to do but to talk to one another all day about each other's cases. So, I mean, I don't think it's too far-fetched that she confided in this woman.
Every day, all day.
Did you ever outright ask her whether she did what she's accused of?
I did.
And what did she say to that?
She said she did. It was to keep her grandkids, but it wasn't supposed to go that far.
Okay, so she said she did do it, and she did it to keep her grandkids.
Yes.
But she didn't expect it to go this far.
Yes.
Did Donna Adelson ever ask if you were ever in custody with a woman named Catherine McBanois?
Yes, she did.
And were you ever in custody with Catherine McBanois?
Yes.
I just threw that in at the
Confirmed.
end because it's like everyone's been in jail with Catherine Mugbanwa. You know, sometimes on TV shows, something that drives me nuts is that all the characters know all the other characters. Like in a big franchise like Star Wars or Star Trek, everyone knows who everyone else is, despite the fact that it's a big galaxy. But Katie Mugbanwa really is so like well known in jail that everybody knows who Katie Mugbanwa is. And she told the same story that basically there was an effort to further point the finger at Katie Mugbanwa as being this double agent for extortionists or whatever. And I found them both pretty credible, Drew.
Yeah. Look, it's a very small world. First of all, both of them knew Donna Adelson. Both of them knew, both of them knew Katie Mugbanwa. So here's what I was hoping you captured. It's all right. You're not a complete failure because you didn't. Oh, maybe you still have. Do you still have time left on this thing?
That's the end of it.
Okay. So what I was hoping you would catch is I think that the first informant, Dina, no, she was the first informant. So I think that she probably won the jury over because even though she misspoke in her hearing the other day, she may not come across as credible because it seems like she's changing her answers. Zellman was hot. He was pissed.
Yeah. I remember the part where he's like, now you talked to somebody this and you talked to somebody here. And like at one point he jumped on her for like confusing the race of a person, just trying to make it seem like she had no idea what she was talking about.
Yeah. I want to find out in a second while you flapjack. I'm not going to do it right now, but where he just completely cut her off. Like he was.
Oh, I love that part where she's about to be finished and he says, no further questions, Your Honor. And then redirect Kappelman's just like, can you just finish what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Because what it was she was going to say like, isn't it true that you didn't live with her the whole time or something? And then he cut her off. You're right. That was a really good Law and Order part. I should have got that part, but
it's just, he was just rude.
He was. And then Kappelman saved the day because, she was willing to take a risk and say, can you just finish what you were going to say? Just to show the jury like, hey, I'm willing to take a chance on whatever she's going to say, even though I'm not the one that asked the question.
It was actually Dugan, but yes. So
sorry, Dugan.
So she got cut off, right? And then Dugan, which makes it so easy for Dugan to just kind of stroll in her very low tone and just say, go ahead. You can finish what you're getting ready to say. Would you mind finishing what you're getting ready to say? And like, tell me that doesn't, I'm telling you, these things work on a jury. Whether they believe her or not, they don't like that defense attorney right now. And I'm sure they're probably driven nuts by the.
Well, the defense is taking a two-pronged approach. They've got a good cop and a bad cop over there. They've got the lady whose name I forgot, which is ironic because she forgets Rivera and Garcia's names all the time, but she's kind of going with the folksy new spokesperson for a Cracker Barrel type thing, and he's going for the barking dog. He's the one who's standing up for Donna's rights and calling out everyone else's mistakes. So yeah. Drew, if there's nothing else, I guess I want to invite everyone who watched tonight on Saturday night. Thank you for dropping in on us live. We actually have a huge back catalog of episodes on the Donna Adelson trial. We've been covering it all week. If you missed something from earlier the week and you just want to catch up, watch a shorter video that kind of breaks down the best moments. We did a top 5 most convicting moments on Thursday night. Drew has been a police officer and a detective for 29 years. You're not going to get better insight. And I'm not half bad myself. So make sure that you're checking out all the videos on the Comm Center. We appreciate everybody who left a super chat for us tonight. And make sure you check us out on your favorite social media app. We're on there and you can find us everywhere. Drew, anything else?
Just give me like 5 seconds. But yes, John is very humble when he speaks. He served a lot of time in prison.
I tell people, I love to say that, hey, back when I was in prison, and then I don't qualify at all, is that I was allowed to leave at the end of my shift.
He was, yes, he was a supervisor, a prison supervisor. John, can you clear up this guard thing real quick?
Yes, guards are what they call us in the media. I guess I never felt like I was guarding anyone. this is going to sound kind of high and mighty, and correctional officers are like the one branch of law enforcement that gets zero respect. But when someone gets incarcerated and they go to prison, society washes their hands of them and says, well, that problem's solved. But the truth is that person is still alive. They still exist, and they still break the law. They still victimize people, other inmates, correctional officers, and we enforce the law inside the walls and on our beat where we walk every single day. We meet the same felons every single day for the rest of our career. So if you piss somebody off, you have to see them tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day until you retire or that guy kills you and you don't have a gun. So we were correctional officers, I guess, and we kind of just get dumbed down to guard. And I get it. There's a lot of people out there that are not good at being correctional officers who kind of make us look like guards, but that's what that's all about.
He's currently, though, so you'll know. So he's done his time, so to speak. Like,
actually, I worked there long enough that I could have been there for the same amount of time if I had done a burglary.
He's paid his debt to society, and he currently and has been for the past 9-ish, 10-ish years. I think he got his 10-year watch the other day, but he is a 911 operator, a 911 dispatcher, a 911 telecommunications.
That term's offensive to me.
Everything is offensive to everybody. So he is the impetus, the crux of this show, because every good true crime story starts with a 911 call. This call with Mr. Geiger, this case, by the way, with Mr. Geiger, was absolutely no exception. Yeah. I really wanted to go out showing you Josh Selman making an ass of himself in front of the jury.
You're not going to be able to find it. Do you have any idea how hard it is to scrub through that?
Actually, pretty close. We'll move on.
All right, guys, make sure that you check it out. We'll play it on the next episode. When the trial resumes on Tuesday, if anything big happens, you can expect more recaps next week. The defense takes over. We'll see if they can possibly try to walk back the great strides, the great accomplishments that I think the state has made to convict. It's a strange system. Only the state has to prove something, and they've done all the work that they're going to do, and we're going to just see if the defense can kind of undo that work. So we'll see you back here. Make sure you check out all our videos. We appreciate everybody for watching. Have a good night. Drew, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. TheCommCenter.com. One word, TheCommCenter.com.
That's a website. Oh, I have one last question for you, Drew. A cop question, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, go.
Just for the few people that are left remaining. If you and I were in jail together, would you be my friend?
I would write a script for you.